doll friends, this is Michael Canadas with the Carmel Doll Shop and the Grovian Doll Museum. Today we are in Savannah, Georgia, one of the most beautiful cities in America, and I'm standing in the Monterey Square. Behind me is one of Savannah, Georgia's most famous houses, the Mercer Williams House. We're not going to go visit that today, but today we're going to go and visit a private home in Savannah. They've been very gracious to open the door to all of you to see a wonderful Christmas extravaganza. So come on with me. Well, here we are. We're going to have a wonderful Christmas tour at Miss Paula's house in Savannah, Georgia. You're going to be in for a treat. So let's go on in. Hello, Paula.
How are you?
I'm good.
Kitty is terrified.
She's terrified. Oh, well, you'll get to see Kitty later. So we are delighted that you're sharing your beautiful home with all of our friends in 65 countries.
Oh my goodness. Don't tell me that.
So you live in historic Savannah, Georgia.
I've lived here 15 years and moved from Pacific Grove, California and Carmel area. And it's if you've read the book Midnight in the Garden of Evil, Good and Evil, that doesn't even touch anything of how crazy the people are that live here.
Eccentric.
And it's fun.
It's fun.
Crazy and lots of fun. But we've lived in this house since we moved here, and it has, I can share a little history with you. It belonged to a man that built it in 1920. He was an executive with Standard Oil. I know a lot about the house because the woman across the street lived to be over 100, and she was in her 90s when we moved here. And she's lived there all her life, so she knows everything about the neighborhood.
She probably knew it was built.
Yes, and she played with the twins that they had, the little boys. Out in back, there's a koi pond that was their wading pool that was built in 1920 when the house was built. But it's had a lot of eccentric people that have lived here. One that she told me, and others have, that it was based on the character for Driving Miss Daisy. And the lady that lived here, I don't know what her name was, but she did have a chauffeur that lived over the carriage house, and his name was Illinois. So that's all I know about her. But the lady across the street said that every day at a certain time, all the maids would come out and sweep the sidewalk so they could all gossip with one another. And it was just like clockwork. You'd know exactly when that was happening. So, but anyway, I'm a former florist for 25 years on the Monterey Peninsula, and I've decorated a lot of houses for people in Carmel and Pebble Beach and Monterey. And I've always decorated my own house. I've always loved Christmas since I was a little girl. And a lot of the things that I still have are from my Christmases from childhood. But in here, this is one of the best pieces. Michael, I got it from Michael. He had coveted this on his trips to Germany.
Yes.
And he always promised that he'd maybe get it for me. And you can see the little sledders. When Michael would go to Germany...
This was at the unification time.
Yes, a long time ago. When he'd go to Germany, he wouldn't tell me when he was come back. But when he came back and I'd answer the phone, I'd hear these little musical things, and then he'd hang up just to drive me crazy.
The new shipment
has arrived, and there's something for you.
Well, that's a wonderful Christmas
It's a wonderful Christmas toy.
Now, you have something here that we're going to do an overview of the Christmas decorations, but we're going to do a couple of little special items. But this is an item that I had forgotten that you bought it, and it is spectacular. So do you want to tell them what this is?
When Michael and David got John Darcy Noble's collection, I think this was one of the prime pieces, and I had to have it. And it's just about exactly like it was at the time. One of my favorite things in here is that clock in the back. It has two opals in it. I love all the little dolls. John made a lot of the furniture. He made this little walnut shell sewing basket, the etagere, the table on the other side. It's just exquisite. And there are two things that happened when I moved here, moving all this stuff across country. One thing broke. It was a cast iron frying pan, broke in half. That's just impossible.
Yeah, how do you do that?
The other thing was there was a little, so now she wants to be in the picture.
Oh, well, there's more of her. Hi, honey.
The other thing that happened was there was a fishbowl in here. And he talks about his fishbowl in the articles that he wrote about this dollhouse. I packed that fishbowl so well, I can't find it. I cannot find it.
Oh, it may surface again.
It may. And so the only thing I've added is this little, what would you call that? The picture, revolving picture stand. So I've put that in there until I find the dollhouse.
Well, that's a pretty good
somewhere.
That's a pretty good replacement. You are actually one of the fortunate people that actually met John Noble.
Oh,
there's a lot of people that don't know who he was.
The first time I met John Noble, Michael and David had flown him down for a show in San Francisco, and I had to go pick him up, and I didn't know who he was, and he didn't know who I was, and he was having a fit when he got off that plane because they wouldn't take him with the wheelchair to the front where he was supposed to be. So I found him, and I said, John, if you hang on, we'll get out of here in this wheelchair. I'm not supposed to do it. It's supposed to be an attendant. So we just took off with people running after us. And he was waving his cane, the end of civilization. So that's the first time I met
And didn't
Sean.
he lose his shoes?
Oh, it was incredible. But he was a wonderful man, so knowledgeable, really sweet. Not to United Airlines, but to me, he was very sweet. And he was very special.
So there's also something, talking about celebrities, there's also something here that's really special that might not be noticed. But do you want to tell us about this chair and this walking stick? Because this is part of one of your many collections.
Yes, and we'll go into that in detail another time. But this, when I was little, I've always loved small names. The name Paula means small. And I always have loved little things. And we'd go to San Francisco all the time to the Cliff House, which since burned down. But they had a lot of automatons there, and they had a lot of Tom Thumb things. And I fell in love with that little man when I was probably 4 years old. And I wanted him. And it was just an obsession. And later in life, I started collecting things that really belonged to him. And this chair belonged to him, and his little, if you can see it, it's a little, I guess a little...
Walking stick.
It's a little walking stick, but I think it's a little lion's head, or like a female lion maybe. Anyway.
Or a panther.
Panther.
Mm-hmm.
But that belonged to him. I was lucky enough to know a dealer in the, near where he was from. And
Isn't it Bridgeport?
Well, yeah, he was from Bridgeport, but Frank McNamee has a wonderful store, and his wife was from Middleborough, where the Thumbs had their home, and they were able to, whenever they got something, they'd call me, and even when they have auctions, they call me, and they'd say, I'll stay on the phone until you get it. So
well, you have
I've been very
collection,
lucky.
but it's a very special chair.
The other, this is just it's a wonderful little dollhouse. And I don't know if you looked at this.
No, I didn't. I have not seen it. It's a little bliss.
It's a little bliss. It's kind of hard to access.
But it's architectural.
But it has funny little rooms. I don't know if this one's lit. I think it is. Yeah, there we go. You can...
I love the magic of looking in dollhouse windows.
See it from both sides. And it's kind of a small scale of furniture,
Which is fun.
which is fun.
Now you use your collections as decorative items all over your house, which some people don't do. Some people have doll rooms. I mean, this literally is a doll house.
A doll house.
Yes, it's a doll
A
house.
house for doll houses and
then-
doll things.
And then other collections.
I've always been a toy collector and toy lover.
And tell them a little bit, they're going to see a lot of beautiful wicker pieces. And you and your husband Richard have been really at the forefront of making this art form significant.
Right. When we were first together in 1970, we were both in college and we didn't have a lot of money for furniture, so we'd go to flea markets, and I found a wonderful rocker, but somebody had repaired the arms with shoestrings. So I bought it, and we didn't even have a car. We were on our bicycles. And so I bought it and hired a taxi, which cost more than the chair, to take it home. And then Richard rode his bicycle home, walked back to the flea market to get my bicycle, and he learned to repair wicker. And as he was in college, he was so interested in that type of furniture that he wrote his master's thesis on it, which he sent to Crown Publishers, and they published it. And then he's just started researching and writing more books about it and articles. And at one time, the Smithsonian at the Renwick Gallery did a retrospective on wicker, and he was an advisor. So it was...
It's been a great journey for you.
It's been a great journey, and I've met wonderful people in the field and made a lot of friends. And when we were in California, made lots of trips back east every year. And he spoke at in Minneapolis at the Art Institute. He did a big show at Mackinac Island. We've been able to do a lot of things and meet a lot of great people.
And it's been great for this really quintessential American art form.
Right, it's really the only really true American furniture, except maybe Shaker. But all the things, the beautiful Newport and New York furniture, it's kind of based after English and European things. So anyway, it's very, oh my goodness, she just can't stand. She's ready for her close-up, please. And she's always mad, so.
No, that's it.
That's it. He's gonna get you.
Shall we go in and see the dining room before it's set up for the extravaganza?
Well, and this actually is the landing strip for, we have 2 cats and they love to run across this. But we love this dining room because it's just so nice to entertain. When we have guests, they don't want to leave the table.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good concept.
And it's especially pretty at Christmas time. I love to decorate.
Now, I've been meaning to ask you, but I haven't. Is this wallpaper, is this all hand painted?
This is hand painted. Another of the, I think we're probably the 4th or 5th owner of this house, but one of the owners, the second to the last, was an interior designer. He's now in New York, and he hand painted all this.
He did.
wallpaper,
It's beautiful.
and I just love it.
I love the colors. Now, this is something that I have, we've known you for many, many years. You're our oldest friend that we have that we've been together. But then you shocked me with this new...
The swans.
The swans. So this is a new signature that you have.
Well, this was kind of something I started when we moved here 15 years ago. So there's probably 15 swans, one for every year.
And I think it's a very good symbol for you because you're very much a swan, which you look very serene on the outside, but you're paddling really fast underneath.
Yeah.
I think it makes a beautiful collection.
And the pineapples for the South. And, being in the flower business for 25 years of my own shop and then working for others, I've always collected ornaments. So after all those years, you just get a few every year. Suddenly you have 1,000.
You do.
So, and I can't bear to not put them all out.
So we're going to show the beautiful table setting when we get to that. But I want to show some of your art objects because you have a gorgeous collection of paper mache objects. And of course our doll friends think of paper mache as just dolls, but they made all kinds of wonderful wares.
Well, and not only those wares there, but these two chairs.
Furniture.
And those well, there's 4 paper mache chairs in this room and a table. And then that's an interesting thing. It's all made of wax, and it's a Victorian thing that whimsy that little ladies with not a lot to do, and they made even the seashells are made out of wax, and then that thing that they're on is all wire and
How
wax.
it survived is a miracle,
And
isn't
how
it?
it got it here from California is a miracle.
And of course, here's some more of your
Well,
fabulous wicker.
this piece also, it's probably one of my favorite things in this room, and that came from John Noble's collection. And it's seashells and then flowers that are made from seashells, and then it has a little ship that goes through the middle of it.
Well, that is so John Noble.
Yes,
It really
it's
is.
just over the top, and he was over the top. You know, I went to New York not that long ago and went up to ask if they remembered him, and they had nothing but good things to say, even this many years later.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Well, he put the museum in the city of New York on the map.
yeah.
I mean, that is for sure. So I see that you have in here, we've got, of course, the signature swan, but then we have your antique Christmas items.
Right.
So you've got a big collection of those too,
I
don't
do.
you?
I love the sleigh. We were in Paris at some show, and you and I were there.
Did we get that together?
We got that
Oh.
together. Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't a full-size one. Why
That's
not?
next.
We just put it on the top of the car and head down the road. Shall we go into the living room or parlor and see the big tree? Let's do that. Okay, Paula, the thing I want you to share with everyone is you have something that I have never seen in any other collection. And it's this Roulin de Camp piggy automaton. Could you play that for everyone to
I'm gonna let you
Oh, you're gonna let me? Okay.
do the honors.
All right, let's see.
Since I got it from you
All right, let's see if I can get it to work.
many years ago. He sometimes, when I walk through the house, just goes off on his own
Okay, there he is.
and plays a little tune. But that just couldn't be better.
And what I think is so fantastic is his costume, which I don't understand what it means, but it's got little mice all over it.
Well, he's a little clown, so
He's a clown, but there has to be some
yeah,
significance
there
to
must be a story
mouse.
behind that.
And there's even
There's a mouse on the,
On the
that side.
and they're all over.
He's a goodie.
Yeah, but look at his face. It's just got a wonderful peaky face.
That's a lot of detail.
So your tree is beautiful. And when I see your tree, it brings back lots of memories because we know those ornaments from the past.
Well, they're 50, well, there's probably 65 years of that. Let me point out a couple of them that are interesting that I think. In San Francisco, there's a organization called the Helpers of the Mentally Retarded, and they one year made all these. This is Audrey Hepburn and going down the in the Louvre, in the Louvre, and this is a Chanel, and there's different ones. There's all these designers made these little. This
Nice.
one is
Supermodel mice.
Chanel mouse.
Celebrity mice.
Yes, well, designer mice. And then Gump's used to be a wonderful store in downtown San Francisco. It's since changed hands, but they every year had hand-painted ornaments, only one-of-a-kind ornaments, and I used to love to go there and see what they had. There's a little Santa riding a goose. But, you know, I remember them all, and I remember where I was when I got them, and it's fun.
It is fun.
So.
And it looks like on the piano, you have a tree with your oldies on
These
it.
are, yes, a lot of
Victorians.
antique ornaments.
And this, I think, I'm gonna go and grab this because this is pretty spectacular.
He thinks it's spectacular, but he forgot that I got it from him.
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember.
I love that.
But it's an automobile, and then it's covered with
moss.
moss. And isn't that coconut fibers on the top?
Yeah.
And it's a little biscuit. It's totally wild, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. And lots of goodies.
I love ephemera. I love these old books. I think this one does something, but I don't know what. His eyes move or something. I can't get it to work. An old scrapbook with these wonderful little Santas embossed.
Now you have something that's new that I haven't seen, but I just adore it. Is there any way you can pull that out of the display so we can have a look at it?
Let's see if I can do it without killing something. This was made by Helen Bruce in the 1950s. You can hold it up so he can take a picture. And she made a lot of dioramas and used a lot of little antiques. And she made a whole bunch of them for Electra Havemeyer Webb from the Shelburne Museum. And you want the story of how I got it?
Sure, why not?
Well, I found this on Ruby Lane, and the lady would not ship it, and she was in New Jersey, because she didn't want anybody to turn it upside down. And I couldn't fly there and get it because I knew it would get jostled. So I took the train up to New York, and her husband was some kind of engineer. So he engineered some crazy packing that it wouldn't move in this great big thing with a handle. And it was Christmas time, and I met him around Times Square. I don't know how we ever found each other. He was in the car, and I was on a street corner waiting, and we exchanged the package. And I gave him a big hug, and then I went and got on the train and went home. And
That's unbelievable.
I love it.
But she used old,
She
the
did.
doll's old, the findings and things to make all the things old. I mean, this lady could have a great career now if she wanted.
Well,
if
I'm
she
sure
could come-
she's long gone.
Oh, she's long gone, but
Yeah.
I just love this piece.
Are you trying to
This
get
is really-
in the picture?
No, I think we're going to try to jump from the sofa to the
She likes to get in the window.
to get in the window. Come on.
You're gonna go out and look at your friend, the yellow cat
Or
that
are
you
we going to
hate?
take out that table of porcelain?
No, she won't. She's never broken anything.
It would make great
Amazing.
video.
Yeah. I like things with shoes, little old women in the shoe. I have some of those. I have a little lady in a whistle, in a shoe whistle.
Can we take the dome off? So
We can.
I'll take it over here, and then that way
Okay.
we won't kick it.
I especially love the woodens, but I love the little black lady with all her little frozen Charlotte people. And he's good. He's a real old little wooden. I think I got him from John Noble. This one is probably my favorite doll ever. So you see these fortune tellers, but I've never seen a French fortune teller with black head. Do you think it is French, don't you think?
Well, it could be a German head, but
Or
then
it could be English too,
yeah.
I guess.
It's most likely German.
It's
But
quite,
it's early.
quite old,
I mean,
yeah.
that's early.
Yep.
But so is your,
So are they.
They're
I got
they're
that from
rich.
you, of course, at
that was a long time ago, before,
Seattle.
yeah, before people were really interested in those. So Paula, you've incorporated, which I think is genius. You put your old Santa, that I know you've had that for decades.
Forever. He's a candy container.
And then you've put in a carriage. So I guess the concept of Santa is here delivering, and then this is his
Right.
carriage.
He doesn't have a sleigh. He has a carriage. It's a little different. And he's out in the woods, taking a break. Before Michael and David had the doll shop, they had an antique shop there in Monterey, and that's where I first met them. And this wonderful clock, this paper mache clock I bought from them.
Did you really buy that from us? I don't remember that.
I bought it, yes.
I don't remember it.
I do. Why do we let that go?
I know.
Yeah.
And then I also bought a lot of my furniture came from Legacy Antiques. And it was always fun to go there and see what new things they had. And then it was even more fun to go to the doll shop. Get in more trouble.
And that's pretty fine Santa.
Yes, and that I got from you. And it's a nodder for a store to attract people. And he's probably turn of the century German.
I would think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably 1910.
Yeah. So.
And then we were talking earlier about paper mache furniture, and here's a wonderful chest and a pair of paper mache chairs.
Also from Legacy Antiques, not the chairs, but the Bombay chest.
Pretty amazing. It's one of my favorite things.
Those chairs I found in Mendocino in a store that was closed, and I spent a day trying to find the owner to open them up and get them. They were from Brazil. They came,
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, but those are my best paper mache furniture.
Well, shall we go upstairs and look at some fun little toys? Are you ready for that, Paula?
To the caves of Baghdad, you really want to go there?
Okay, all right, let's do that.
Okay, if you come to my house and you ask me who does all this, then you don't get past really maybe the first two rooms, but you certainly don't get upstairs because this can be horrifying to some people, but I love it. And it's a long time collection of mostly Marats, but some Polichinelles and
some tippers.
And some tippers, yes.
And you really have some really outstanding items.
And mostly from you.
Well, not all from us, but...
This piece is John Noble's, that piece.
That's sure spectacular.
I collected a lot of Marats over the years, and then when I get a lot of things, then there's always the premier thing, and then I stop. This one I got from Michael, and I thought it was the best one because it has legs, and they normally just have heads. But I love that one.
What about this one? This one has
Well, that
legs.
one has, yes, that one
That one's
has.
pretty fabulous too.
Well, they're all fabulous, but this one just seems that he's playing an instrument. I mean, this is probably a better one, certainly a better face, but I just like him.
Well, Paula, there's a lot, some of our members don't know, besides the play factor, what they were used for. The
Yes.
musical Marats.
Well, and they're not just toys for babies to entertain them. They were used as party favors at balls. And if you wanted somebody to dance with you, you couldn't go ask him, but you could wave your Marat at him. And one of these, I think it's this one, has a whistle. And I thought, well, that's for the really desperate. If you waved it and he didn't come, you could always whistle. So.
And then in this, which is a wonderful way to display these things, how you use them as an art installation. But I also noticed that you have these hat tippers, which are
right.
pretty spectacular
They're
too.
pinned on there, but if you squeeze them, they...
They tip their hat.
hats.
And then there's really a good one for a mass ball, because doesn't she tip her?
She tips her mask.
mask.
I think she moves her little scepter also. But I've always been fascinated with that, the art of balls. I've never been to one, but I love the costuming. This fan was probably at a ball. You know more about that.
That's a de Villeroy fan.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
And it's a cat, which you know I like cats.
Yeah.
And then I have a lot of dance cards from balls. Many of those. They're on top of there. There's a lot of them. But I have a lot of them put away. And then this guy is, if you squeeze him.
Yeah, if we got these all going
Yeah,
at once,
you'd lose your mind.
you would.
Yeah. So maybe someday that's how I'll go out. You'll know it's time.
Give Paula a toy to play with, and she'll just
Go out.
swing it all day long.
But this one's pretty good.
Yes.
And
that's
that face is a
Gautier.
Gautier.
Mhm.
So pretty.
Beautiful, all original.
All original.
And most of yours are really all original, which is really kind of nice.
He's a squeaker too. He does things.
Oh, yes.
And he's a butterfly catcher. He has a bird cage on his bib. He has butterflies on his
Oh, that's
costume.
fabulous.
And he has a tiny little vasculum.
And you've written articles about,
All about that.
vasculums.
Yes. These are a life size for children. Polichinelle outfit for the boy and the girl. The boys used to wear pink and the girls blue.
And there's proof right there.
Yeah, and you know, then that changed. You wouldn't be caught dead in pink if you're a little boy now, but
I mean, these are so rare that they've survived.
you know,
Because, they weren't made of the
the finest
materials.
Yeah.
Mhm. And we didn't show this wonderful little doll you have at the top of the stairs, which is a paper mache clown.
I do love him, and I guess he's a French boy.
With the little man on the moon. Isn't
Right,
that
man
perfect?
on the moon on his little conical hat.
Shall we go into, okay, so if somebody's lucky enough and they don't ask who does this and they get it, then they might get to stay in one of your enchanting guest rooms,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
so let's go have a look in
Well,
a pretty room.
This is a pretty room, but it looks like we have a guest in it already.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So let's see. A lot of the time I have the door closed in here, so she thinks she's being very brave to come in here and sit on the bed. But this is my main best bedroom, and I love it because it has a fireplace. Oh my goodness. She wants to tell you all about it.
Yes. But I see that you have a collection of a lot of your hats and shoes and all of your Victoriana.
Yes, David, if you want to come over here in the corner, these are great shoes because they're red. You know who would have had those.
Oh, yes.
Not I don't know.
Ladies of ill repute.
Yes. And then these are beautiful wedding shoes. And these are beach shoes that you couldn't show your toes, for God's sake.
And your wallpaper is gorgeous. And
You see this in a lot of
our
Michael's
photographs. Because I love it.
Because he loves it. And I had it in my other house, and when I came here, I had to have it here. And boy, was that ever hard I think I had to have it reprinted.
Yeah.
That's how hard it was.
But it makes for a beautiful room.
I love this wallpaper. But I collect also weird ladies' accoutrements. This is these are opera glasses. They have the little iris, they're sterling silver. This is an interesting little thing. It's a perfumery that you put in your glove, and it fits right on your finger.
Oh, fabulous.
So it's thin like that. And the curling iron from 1,000,000 years ago. And this is to pull your skirt lifter.
And show them that, because it's quite a bit different than what doll skirt lifters are.
You do it.
Okay. So you go, forget how you do this, you do, and then it opens up, and then you pull it. And there's little pads here so it doesn't damage the materials. This is actually a really fancy one. Sometimes they're very utilitarian looking.
One of the other interesting things like that is over on the other side of the room, and it's to hold your muff. You put it around your neck, and it has little turquoise beads. You put it around your neck, and you put your muff on this, and then it won't fall off.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've had this forever. You just probably never saw it.
I don't remember seeing
Yep.
it. But you have a lot of items.
But, well, you probably can't remember everything. This is a wonderful muff, speaking of muffs. It's great. Feathers and feathered tulle. These I love. They're gauntlets. They're
Those are fabulous.
just fabulous.
Oh, those are great.
I got these at Bellocchio, which I love that little store in San Francisco, but she's out. She's gone.
Is she gone?
She's gone, yeah.
That was a great place.
It was, I got a lot of little
But that's
fun things
pink
there.
lace, which is so...
Pink lace, yeah, that probably, well, that was very popular, pink and black.
Yeah, but just to see it now is
Yeah,
pretty. And that's a wonderful little atagere too.
it is. This friend gave
Well,
me
this is
that.
a wonderful room for someone to stay in, because they could just lay in the bed and just look around and see all the wonderful things there are.
I like all this ribbon art. I don't know what it's really called.
I don't think there is a name.
My
for it.
husband calls it slutabilia. He thinks it's horrible, but I have a lot of it, and it's. I
think
mean,
it's
look
very
at these
interesting.
little tiny silk roses, and a perfume bottle, and a pin cushion, and picture frames, and powder boxes.
And you've been collecting this a long time.
Forever. And then that I stopped collecting when I got the premier piece from Michael.
What was that? Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, you can't
The
get much better.
slutabilia car.
You can't get much better than that. I mean, isn't that just over the top?
It is. And then these are all my dance cards that just go on and on. They're fun. So,
That is just amazing.
I know.
I forgot about that.
and I don't have a lot. I mean, I'm a toy collector. I'm not really a doll collector, but I do love these little mignonettes. And this was a little Christmas package. I like their faces. They're fun.
Very pretty.
And I also love fans. And this tree is just full of little fans. This is a great one. Just so Victorian and so sweet.
And that they even survived is, I think,
Yes.
is a miracle.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
they
this is a bouquet of flowers. It folds into the nosegay.
put-
It's just crazy. But, and this was an advertisement for the Bon Marché. And I just love little ephemera pieces. And then the star on the top, I put that on there this year. One of our dear club members passed away this year, and she made that.
She made those. She made
Yeah.
those for us.
Yes, Beverly
quite a few-
Shivani.
Yeah, for quite a few years.
Yeah,
And they really are better than original.
they're wonderful.
I mean, her work was so meticulous,
Yeah, she was a great
just right on point.
artist.
That's a nice thing when you have things that people have crafted beautifully. She loved to see this. And she loved Christmas too.
She did. Yeah.
So you just made a statement that you're not really a doll collector. So I think we should go into the next room and see if that's really true. So Paula, we're in a guest room that for somebody that's not a doll collector, I see a few dolls and doll wardrobes and toys. For someone who's not a doll collector, you have a few.
I have a few dolls, but you know, I don't consider myself a doll collector.
Well, you're an antique collector.
More
Wouldn't you?
toys.
Yeah.
Toys.
Yeah. Well, dolls are toys.
Yes.
And then we have a little friend in here who.
Yeah. Just wants to make sure
This is a forbidden space.
Yeah.
One thing I really love, and I know I've seen it for years, but I forgot is she's gonna do a jump. Is this cradle?
I love things that have gesso, and I love pink roses, so of course that would be something that I just had to have. All the little garlands and ribbons. I love that cradle.
And it's filled with all kinds of wonderful
Fun things.
dolls and toys and animals. So when somebody stays in this room, they have to be special, don't they?
They have to be brave.
They have to be brave.
Very brave.
Yeah. So I think a collector would love to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This horrible child, this is one of the first antiques I got, and my husband hates it. And her name is Toddy, and she's my alter ego. And this is, we call Toddy's room, because she does a lot of bad things. This little grouping, this little man is called the Croque-Mitten.
The Croque-Mitten.
Yeah, Croque-Mitten. And he steals children. He has a bunch of children.
This is a Christmas show.
Oh, well, but you know, we were together in Paris when we found out even about him, and we tried to ask people about him, and they wouldn't talk about it. But anyway, I've never seen a toy like that. And
well, the Croque-Mitten was he disciplined the kiddies when they were bad. Bad kids got taken away by the Croque-Mitten, and
right.
he ate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
But I remember Madame Zoe, who's gone now.
Go ahead.
Madame Zoe, who's gone now, she said he used to eat children. But on a happy note, shall we show the kitty tea party?
They're a pretty happy little group here.
You have a lot of Kit Kat things.
I do.
I've noticed that they're pretty much spread all over. And this I don't remember you having, this sample board.
I bought that from you.
Did you really?
I did.
I don't remember
Yep.
that.
And you'll have to tell me about it. 'Cause
I don't
know
remember
much.
a thing about it.
It's German.
It looks like they're
It's in-
tin heads.
I think it's in the Cecil's book, but I don't know what it is.
I don't remember that. It's been a long time.
These get kind of jarred around when you guys are up there in the attic.
That's right. We have to stay in the attic.
Yes, you don't get to stay
Yes,
in the good
we're
rooms.
flowers in the attic. And then another thing I really love that you have is your store, which has got just beautiful lithography. That's wonderful.
a hacker, Christian hacker. Yeah, there's not much more room for that store to have.
I think
wares.
you are laden with inventory in
Yes,
that
we
store.
are.
That you should be able to make it. And then this, I believe, isn't Buster your family doll?
Buster is my great aunt's doll, yes.
So Buster's this one right here.
And Buster was bought at the Chicago World's Fair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry, the St. Louis Fair in 1904.
Yeah,
They lived in Illinois, and the dad went to the fair and brought the girls' dolls.
And you have a wonderful wax mannequin with a hobby horse. I love.
And then all those little flower pin cushions. They're all along the side of that dresser too.
And I think we should, at some point, get all your candy containers together in one place because you have a lot of candy containers.
No, we can do that. And I like this little trunk here because it shows the original owner of the doll. And she was just a baby when she got it, but it's that doll, and those were her clothes.
Well, they're wonderful
And that's
clothes.
the original factory dress, I'm sure. And these, I don't know if they'll be a glare, but those are rewards of merit, which I think is sweet
They're a fun thing to
for the
collect.
good deeds that little children did.
And
I didn't get any of those.
Well, you'll get them after doing this. You have a lot of great photography.
This is the Emporium. It's the, you know, upstairs in the Emporium in San Francisco, they had a Ferris wheel and all that stuff. This is the employees on the top of the Emporium. What, maybe 1910 or 12 or something?
But you were collecting this
Yes,
way before
I collected a lot of wonderful
photography,
photography.
long before anyone else was doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be very hard to get it. You'd have to actually go through everything. Now you just put a Google search and boom, you've got what's available.
Right. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of shows, going through a lot of boxes.
Yeah, back in the day. And I love your cottage furniture in this room. I know that makes David have to turn around.
But there's a piece over there too.
But some wonderful, it's just got a wonderful whimsical Victorian feeling to it. All right, shall we go look at some doll houses?
Do that?
Because you're not a doll collector, but we
Well,
might as
then
well.
turn around, and this is a McLaughlin Brothers folding dollhouse that I rescued, so it's not all original. This room is original. I got it in a lot of things, and I bought it for the lot, but not for the things in the lot, but not for this. But when I saw it, I thought, this could be rescued. I can't throw anything old away.
Well, I think it's beautiful.
These are the two Swedish aunts that have come to visit. And,
They're a little short, aren't they?
well, in more ways than one. This kitchen, the floor, of course, is original, and part of this is, but the rest of it was just a mess. But I
But
like
you have the
the
talent
meat
to-
rack.
Yeah, you have the talent to do that. Now, did the furniture come with it? or-
Nothing came with
Nothing came with it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you assembled this.
yes. And then this wallpaper was changed, but
Well, you gave it a
fun.
new life.
It has a new life, and it's fun. And I have a lot of this, is it Babette Schweitzer?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, furniture.
Well, it's very high Victorian, don't
Yeah.
you?
So that's that one. And it's on a Lazy Susan, so it's easy to manipulate.
But you know, eventually a cat's gonna just go right on that. If they,
Well, that's why they're not allowed in
Yeah.
here unless they're under supervision. So,
all right. Well, we'll head on to the next space.
this is my study, and I have a lot of games in here. I love Red Riding Hood. I have a lot of Red Riding Hood games. I have an actual little dollhouse that's just Red Riding Hood. Have you looked in here, Michael?
I have not.
Well, it's all French twig furniture, including the chandelier,
Oh, that's
the window treatment, I got all the stuff, and then I got this. It's a folk art piece that I thought it just went with this bunch of little wonderful furniture. One of the pieces was from John Noble. This one, it's probably the best one in there, but there's just great little twig furniture in here.
And Paula, this is not they're not particularly expensive to find, twig things.
Well,
Yeah,
they've gotten a lot more
have they?
expensive. This is Little Red Riding Hood. If you look in the bed, there's Grandma. This is Grandma's late in life child, this little wolf, little Catholic mistake. And there's a Earhart and some Red Riding Hood picture. There's a twig clock. I just love this little folk art thing. This tiny little matching set of a hat and a scarf. But there's another little wolf. There's her little pet wolf. And then in here, there's more. It's hard to see, but there's even a spinning wheel that's made out of twig.
That's fabulous.
Isn't that fabulous?
I mean, it proves that you can, with creativity, you can make a dollhouse out of anything, a cardboard box, a piece of furniture. It doesn't have to be the traditional dollhouse.
These are some kind of straws wrapped in some kind of paper. It's just crazy. But I thought it just kind of went with this. It had a ship in it, and I thought that would be a good dollhouse for my
your
Red
twig
Riding
things.
Hood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I do love your shooting game with the brownies.
Right, and I love brownies. You'll see that in another room later. And that I got from you. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do
Yeah.
remember that.
And more pigs and whistles and an ark and lots of little things. And I love this piece. It's another dealer we lost this year, Jim Fernando. And I loved some of the things that I got from him.
And we bought that, we went to his house in San Francisco when he lived there, and I remember that day. That's pretty amazing.
I remember that day because we went down to have lunch and we forgot what garage we parked in, and there's like 5 million of them in downtown.
Some things never
That was
change.
fun.
But it's a wonderful a doll carriage.
It
shaped
is.
like a shoe.
And I love shoes. So, and then I don't know if you noticed, but the teddy is dressed in a Red Riding Hood motif. The little wolves. I got that from you too. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Love that. And it just fit.
I do not remember
Him.
that.
This little toy store was once an antique store, but now it's a toy store. And it's a little gotcha.
Isn't that darling?
Yeah, I love that.
So you assembled that all?
I did.
So I bet you didn't have to buy anything for it.
No.
No, just shopped in your own.
Oh yeah, just stuff that I had. A few pieces came with it. That the little cat with the umbrella. A few little things, but these were just things that I had that go nicely in there.
And then I can see on this wall you have a lot of wonderful games.
Yes, more games. Punch and Judy, cowboy game, things with cats and pigs.
And the adorable Christmas market.
The Christmas market is another thing that I assembled. And I had a lot of that little stuff, and I just got a little stall, and then I made a Christmas stall of my own.
Fun. It's really fun.
So.
And it's about the size for a French fashion, but what I love is this item right here.
That's a lady in Russia that makes these wonderful theaters.
Tiny little
And
thing.
it's, if you look at it closely, it's cats.
Oh.
It's a cat theater. But, yeah, lots of little detail. I love little things.
Fabulous. And then we won't go into it, but because I think we need to actually take these out later, because here is just a fabulous collection of candy containers, figural candy containers. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow, because the cats might be hungry.
It's tight.
So we'll come back and do that.
This is the largest bedroom of the house, and it's, you can see it's got a lot of things going on. The main thing would be the Tom Thumb collection that I've had for years. The main part of it, you've seen some of the other things. And that will be a separate program. But I like to wake up in the morning and I like to see my toys. And some of my favorites, and you've heard that word favorite a lot, but
Well,
these
they
are
should
my
be.
favorites. And one is, I can't remember the company of the ostrich. Do you
I
remember?
think that's Roulette and Decamp.
Yeah, and he winds up and he goes to town.
Should we open it so that we don't have to look through the glass?
Through the glare, yeah.
That is a wonderful.
It is a great
Just-
toy.
I mean, to think that it even survived with those little spindly legs.
Yes. And then just some objects that are different. This one was from John Darcy Noble, and it's one of his, it's a soldier. It's a Union soldier from the Civil War.
Oh, a little Dresden.
A little Dresden. And I've never seen a soldier from the Civil War, Dresden.
I don't think I have either.
I have a couple of very bad kitties. This one rocks the baby, and she's a Roulette and Decamp. And when you wind her up, she really rocks that baby. And then down below, there's another one, and she also,
She is really.
she's really got a bad look on her face. Kind of like my kitty, my real kitty. But she's not the friendliest of nanny kitties.
But I love your Cinderella carriage.
And the Cinderella carriage, got Cinderella and the Prince. We've got the footman and the driver. Then we've got some little passengers, the Polichinelles, a lady and a man. And then this one you may recognize from the video.
Oh yeah, our video Polichinelle.
Of the Polichinelle video. He hatched out of an egg. This came as a carriage with the main characters and the horses. The horses are on
Tiniest
wheels.
little horses.
Wonderful thing. This piece is a, I'm not sure, is it Roulette and
It's
Decamp
Roulette and
also?
Decamp.
Winds up, she pops out of the rose. She has a very special head that I never can remember.
It's a Gautier.
Is it a Gautier?
Yes, but I think we should take that out and show them because it really is special. We can get it out.
It's kind of iffy. Yeah. You can get it
Let's see if we can get her going. Okay. Is she working?
going. Some of these old girls haven't.
Well, what I want to get is to the point where it can show.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
There. So she sniffs the flowers.
And then she pops that down.
But what is special is if you can see her before she smells the flowers, she has, well, she's not cooperating, but let's see if we can show you her little teeth.
Maybe that's what was so different about her.
Yeah, it's the little painted teeth. There, she just needs to work.
Yeah, she just hasn't been called to duty lately. There we go.
It's a wonderful piece.
But I just have little odds and ends. I have those dance cards that I showed before. This was my favorite one because it's the 57th annual Children's Ball, so it's a tiny. Now here she goes
Yes.
again when you don't want her to go.
Yeah.
1902. And this I love because it folds up and it's a florist. And it has all the little accoutrements of a flower shop. And it just folds into each other.
That is wild, isn't it?
It
Have
is
you ever-
wild.
Have you ever seen that before? I don't think I
No.
have. And then there's all your little
floral cards and little boxes and
Patch boxes.
stuff. Speaking of patch boxes, this is kind of a funny thing I found a long time ago in Charleston, and it's for your wig. It's a little bellows to powder your wig.
Oh, fun.
So that's,
18th century.
yeah, 18, that's probably one of my oldest things. I'm more the Victorian collector, but I couldn't pass that up. And this is just full of hats, a little collection of almanacs from the 1800s to early 1900s. Let's see here.
And for someone who doesn't collect dolls, I see an awful lot of doll things here.
Lots of doll things.
And lots of dolls.
A few dolls. We have the peddler doll up there, the little Turk in the wicker chair. That came from John Noble.
You got a lot of things from him.
I did.
I
did.
I don't remember all of that, but I guess you were at the right place at the right
I
time.
was. And then this is kind of a larger size doll furniture. Didn't really have a house that fit it, so now it lives in my bedroom where my books used to be.
Papoose, isn't that a John?
The papoose, this little, it's just a little china. But you wonder if those were made and sold by the side of the road by the Indians.
Oh, I would
or,
imagine they were.
You know,
Tourist trade.
yeah. And that's a perfume shop, a French shop, just full of little treasures. And she's shopping. My dolls do a lot of shopping.
Now you have them in activity.
Yeah.
And then this is, what is this shop here below? Or it's just a room?
It's a room, but it's an unusual room because it folds up this way. So it's tall and skinny, but then it, I've never seen one in quite that configuration. It came with the furniture. But then these are more Tom Thumb things that we'll show later. And then if you'll probably recognize, it's the very top doll, the wax doll, also belonged to John Noble. That's Dorothy Grace.
Dorothy Grace.
That was his favorite doll.
He had that for most of his life.
And this odd little French dog, he winds up and goes, but I have the original picture of him with the baby that he...
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah. And then on the second shelf, Minnie, my Minnie, it's a German fashion, but she was in the romance. She was the sister.
That's right, on the cover of the...
On the cover. And she's writing her memoirs. That was what the romance was based on, her memoirs. This is a Chameau candy container.
Yes.
The bride.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to show candy containers because you've got a tremendous, way more than we could.
I think this is one of my tiniest, and you might not see it because of the reflection, but it's a tiny little wooden. This, I like the little girl in the hammock. This came from the English dealer Heather, which is, she's
Heather
no
Bond,
longer
yes.
with us.
That's a name from the past.
But I loved that little thing. And then this room has a little, this is a good thing. It's a little cat basket.
So what you've done is you've taken these bookshelves and just built them out as little tableaus.
Yes, I built them for bookshelves, and then when you run out of room,
Yeah,
you
put
build
them up somewhere
bookshelves
else.
downstairs, and you get to look at all your treasures when you wake up in the morning.
Now we're going to do a separate cat show, but this is I think this is a real charming piece, Paula. Your kitty modiste.
Yes, this is a little hat shop.
And it's hats just for cats, right?
Hats for cats. 2 cats. There's one in the corner, and that one. There's a little mannequin, and that was really made as a little mannequin. But There's a lot of little things you can buy in that hat shop. I don't like to buy anything really new, even though there's a lot of wonderful artists out there. But I just couldn't pass up these tiny little red gloves or these little white gloves. There's a lady in Italy that makes those.
Well, there's a lot of great craftspeople that make
There are.
wonderful things.
There are. But, you know, I have enough of the antiques, so you gotta stop somewhere. And it doesn't look like I have yet.
Well, Paula, this is one of my favorite items that you have, and I know you've had it for a lot of years, but I think this will be, for a lot of the members, they're not going to be used to seeing something like this black mannequin. So what is the story about her? I forgot.
Well, there's so many black things from the past that are just characters and just horrible representations of that time. But she's a beautiful lady. She came out of a department store in Harlem. She was in the basement forever. And turn of the century, and the South isn't really conducive to having clothing, old clothing, and it's deteriorating, but that's the original great pink and black and green colors together. But she's very dignified, and I think she's just beautiful.
It's a fabulous face.
Yes. Yes. So, and well, you'll tell about the Tom Thumb footstool and all that later.
Well, since we're there, I want to show what our members. I mean, you found this at World Doll Day.
I did,
in
and
the sales,
I
in the
just
Santa's
about
workshop.
died because it's a little card-carrying case with Tom Thumb's card, and you can see how beautifully it's made.
Gorgeous.
And all the little places that he visited in Europe when he was entertaining.
That's amazing little.
And then Beaded Footstool belonged to Mrs. Tom Thumb. And this little shoe also was
her
her.
shoe?
This is her shoe.
Oh,
Just one. And that was authenticated.
So that can give you an idea how she was tiny.
She was little. And then Ann Cather made me this little Mrs. Thumb. It's a little lipstick holder. She's a great artist.
So that was one of her shoes.
One of her shoes.
So who did you have authenticated?
It came from Frank Magnamy, and he got it from the estate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was from there.
So, yeah.
And then talking about shoes, look at that.
Yes.
Wicker.
Wonderful wicker shoe. I got this from you.
Did you?
You gave it to me.
Well, can you
That's
lift it up
okay.
so they can see it?
I can't.
I don't remember that.
Well,
I guess it's
it
been a
needs
long
some
time.
wicker work, but it is beautiful.
That's a rare thing.
Some
isn't it?
dust. And, when you have two cats that sleep with you at night, it's kind of hard to keep the cat hair away. These are Mr. and Mrs. Tom Thumb chinas that I've dressed.
Pretty fabulous. Fabulous little wicker piece.
Yeah. Not really dressed, just added to. So.
But then we have a lot of thumb things to look at, so we'll do that in a separate program because that is an epic.
One more thing about Minnie. Minnie just sits up there and writes letters, but she also shops.
Oh my.
And I
Okay.
like to see what she buys.
Okay.
So this, I've just pinned to the back of a screen, and then I can look at it when I want to.
Okay, that's great. And there's two trunks there. Are they filled with
They're
stuff?
hers, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
fine.
one thing we didn't talk about was that little wrestler.
Sure. If you want to go back
Yeah,
and
we
talk
have to
about
go
it.
back. Yep,
Yeah, she's got some stuff.
she has some stuff. I love soutache and little stuff. In this room, this doll room here, I like these three dolls especially. And the one that's in bed that's an invalid, she has a wonderful wardrobe. She has many silk dresses.
She's got a beautiful face.
Yeah, she has a beautiful face. And that was my parting gift when I ended my business after 25 years from my employees. And
Oh, did they do that?
yes.
Oh, that
yes,
was
they
wonderful.
did, yes.
Well, that's
Yes,
really nice.
it was very nice. But I also like her because she's a little fashion. And she must be a Gautier, huh?
I think probably so.
But don't you love her? And she
Yes.
has a doll.
Yeah, she's really cute.
Love the size.
And
Got
what's-
her from you.
Did you? I don't remember that. But it's been a lot of years.
I've never seen that size. This picture is a print, of course, and it's called Penny a Bunch. And it has a little violet cellar. Well, violets are my favorite flower, and also my mother's. And when we were driving up in her pink Cadillac with the fins, 1959 Cadillac, up to the Seattle World's Fair, we stopped in Aberdeen, Washington, and we saw this in an antique store. Now, my mother was a housewife. She did not have any money of her own. It all had to come from my dad. He was not impressed by this print, but she and I fell in love with it. It was, I think, $38, and I had saved $40 for the fair. So I gave her the money.
Wow. So you spent your
I spent my fair money, but I had $2 left. So we went to the bank, and I got rolls of pennies. And I think it's about 2 hours to Seattle from there, from Aberdeen. And I went through the rolls of the pennies in the back seat. And when I'd find some good ones, then we'd stop at another bank. I'd find a couple more good ones. And then when we got to Seattle, we went downtown to a coin shop. And I made my money back.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's
so
fabulous.
we had our cake and we ate it too. But
And that's how this all started.
it is. It's our first antique, my first antique, but she had it in her home until she passed away, and now I have it. So then I became a florist, and it's Penny a Bunch. So
Yeah. So you bankrolled your mother's.
I bankrolled my mother's.
But didn't she eventually have her own ways of doing things?
Oh, she always had her own ways of doing things, but at that moment there was no way to come up
Yeah.
with $40.
Yeah, on the road.
$38, but yes.
It's wonderful to have that.
So
And I always think of that anytime I see a violet, I think of you too.
yeah.
Well, Paula, thank you so much for sharing all your creativity and all your wonderful doll houses with all of us at World Doll Day. Thank you so much.
Well, you'll have to come back again because you never know what'll turn up.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, good friend.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.